Blessed with a championship prosperity, the likes of which we have never seen. Cursed by a past riddled with despair, this is Blurst.
Aaron, you need to warm up those vocals real quick.
Yeah.
They're coming into the back door! I was gonna ask, can we do some like Radio Gaga?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh, I love that. That was fiery.
It was. Okay.
All right. We ready?
Blurst moments with Blurst.
3, 2, 1. Let's fug. Blursings and wishes, everyone. We are back with our first ever Monday show. Today is Monday, August 15th. I am joined, as always, by my boys, Bleezy and Kais. What's up?
Oh, not much, man. We got the AC fixed. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready to rumble. What about you, Bleez?
Ooh.
Speaking of Rumble, Monday.
That's right.
Rumble
Yes.
Royale tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Look us up on Twitch at Blur Sports. We cannot wait to host. It's going to be electric. Honestly, it's just, come in. It's going to be a good time. If you want to talk to us in the chat, light up the chat. We'll talk back. We're excited. Happy to be recording on a Sunday. It's exciting, this new move for Blur, so we can get that Monday traffic. I'm trying to think of anything else going on. Oh, went to a winery today, guys. So
Ooh, how was
a little
that?
lit because I'm still a little lit. So.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
Sunday Liddy. All right.
That's right.
Oh, and if you guys don't watch the YouTube, there's some changes this week. Kai's got all cleaned up, looking dapper as fuck.
He does look
and
dapper.
I have a mustache as well. So
yes.
If you don't usually watch the YouTubes.
And I cut my hair too.
Yeah.
So
and yes, Blake also got a haircut. It looks quite fine. You got your ears lowered over there, didn't you?
You look good.
I said that joke in my office on Friday and no one got it.
No
one. I was like, you don't get that? Like, I thought that was a common expression.
Getting your ears lowered?
Yes, I thought it was a common expression.
Where'd you hear that from? Your dad?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think you have to be you have to have like an old white man in your life.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the average
joke.
age of the office there?
It's older than me, so I figured that people would get it, but my dad's 70, so I mean, it's probably
70 twins.
70 twins.
Let's go.
Also, I gotta say, for our wrestling Royal Rumble, like, what's our collective knowledge about WWE?
Mine is little to none.
I know the Undertaker's badass.
Mm-hmm.
The Batista bomb is as a move that Batista did. I don't know. A lot of people will be disappointed if they're coming for real wrestling information. Maybe our friend Brady will jump in and
I guess the way to describe it to me was I'm not a WWE guy. I'm a WWE guy's guy. You know what I mean?
Yes, I get that.
I'm not a wrestling guy. I'm a wrestling guy. If you know what I mean.
There it is.
That's where I distinguish myself. But just to give you guys a little taste, I think we're going to do a little bit of golf commentary. So
yes,
let's just give a little taste here. All right, so now we have The Rock coming up onto the ropes, and it looks like he's going to be crashing down upon him.
This is an interesting one here, Hayden. Yeah, let's see how he approaches it.
And he rolls out from under it. Sheamus just barely misses collision there.
We need to get the just claps in the background, just a gentle. And yeah, exactly. Yeah, just get the little. There it is. Yeah, someone just gets absolutely wrecked off the off the side, and then just.
And he used the chair. Sit down.
Yeah,
sit down.
exactly.
Sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Quiet in the galley.
Yes.
Yeah. So
in the galley.
I don't know. We're gonna mix it up. It's gonna be.
We'll
fresh.
figure it out. It'll be fun.
Freaky fresh.
And my guy will win, so I get the first pick at the draft. So that's what's important here.
Who was it you had again?
John Cena.
That's not the Undertaker, so I'm sorry. That is
honestly.
Answer.
Sorry, I'll enter a cheat code or something beforehand.
Classic Blake.
John Cena's just flying around.
It's like Jigglypuff. You can't catch him.
You can't catch him.
Lose.
Yeah.
All right.
It's my strategy.
What are we talking about today, guys? Do you want to give a preview?
Yeah,
Little appetizer.
I'm gonna jump into United. It is once again not a sad United segment. Not as happy as last week. We didn't win, but we didn't lose, folks, and that's the beauty of soccer and the NFL on occasion. So we're also gonna go into we're continuing the UGA preseason preview, and we're gonna hit the quarterbacks room, and we're also gonna cover special teams.
Nice.
As well. I figured that was a nice little mashup there since there's not many QBs and specialties. So, yeah, Blake, what about you?
Unless you're talking about our first string and second string gunner, I don't want to hear it. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I got
I'm
gunners
just
on there.
kidding.
I got jammers,
depth
but
here.
I don't know about gunners.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. So I'm going to talk about today. We're going to reflect on the Falcons preseason game. We're going to talk about how the quarterback outlook looks this year and going forward and what we might want that to look like. And if we have time, we're going to hop on the Bleacher Report wagon and we're going to dissect the recent article they had and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. So that's what we have coming. Also, just take a moment of silence. F's in the chat, everybody. The Atlanta Dream did not make the playoffs.
That's tough.
They had two chances to beat the New York Liberty. They lost both games. They came down the very end in the last one. But that's all right. We major success season compared to last year. But
yes, and I'm not trying to. This might sound sarcastic. I really, truthfully, don't mean it as such. But correct me. There are only 12 teams in the WNBA.
Yes, and 8
All
make
right.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds more like an
hurts.
Atlanta nightmare.
Yeah, yes, this one was.
Yeah.
But hey, we made that trade for Ryan Howard last year, and maybe we'll get another awesome draft pick this year, and actually it'll turn into. I think we'll look a lot much better next year. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
He's really revamped his career since he left Philadelphia.
Ryan
Right, it
Howard.
was a Ryan.
Every time Blake says that, I think of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
old
Yeah.
Phillies first baseman
Gotta-
Ryan Howard, who actually
Yes.
was a Brave legend there for a little while in
He
the minor
was.
leagues,
That's true.
trying to
There
make a
you go.
comeback. Didn't make it all the way back, and then he
didn't
retired.
do it.
My
Yeah.
mind went straight to Dwight Howard, and I was like, "Did I say Dwight out loud?"
No,
Like,
no, you didn't.
yeah, I get it
Yeah.
now. Ryan
Yeah,
Howard,
yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Like you're doing great.
Yeah.
As Hayden said last week, you can tell my joke was good by the dead silence afterward. So, yeah.
That's my go-to
least-
line for when I just like, eat one.
Yeah.
So
we have at least one of those a segment or
Oh,
not a
yeah.
segment,
It's
a
true.
pod.
Oh.
Not a segment, a pod.
yeah, at least
There it is.
Hayden has at least 3 jokes that don't land per episode.
I didn't mean you. I just mean
But not
us.
that one.
It's
That
about
one was
quantity. You
It
throw
is.
out 10, you get 2 to
Yeah,
land.
exactly.
You're still funny.
I mean, think about it. Hitting 300 in baseball is great. That means you only have a hit 3 out of every 10 times. I mean,
Yeah, you
come
make me
on.
laugh more than I realize I don't laugh. So you're a funny guy. That's how I would quantify that.
There it
Okay.
was. See, Blake just had one.
That wasn't a
That's
joke.
good.
It felt like a brain teaser. All right, so Ryan Howard and the Braves. Let's talk about what I'm going to talk about. The Braves, of course. Let's
let's
just dig
jump
in. Let me start my timer here so we don't talk for an hour. All right, here we go. The Braves regain momentum, and the Mets are looming. So, happier news. We have regained momentum. We have won 6 straight games after the failure of that Mets series. So,
Yes.
it's very important. We actually won the first game in Boston last Tuesday.
Yep.
In
dramatic
extras.
fashion.
Yeah, so that was a pivotal moment, I think. If we lose that game and like don't take back momentum after that series in New York, I don't know. I think we just kind of fall out of the race, but the boys got some fight in them.
And might I say that I know it's the circumstances around it weren't nearly as dire, but Acuna's slide there in extra innings. Tell me that didn't smack of Sid Bream back in the day. Braves win! Braves win! Braves win!
Man.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Both of you did, because one is an important slide, and also it was an important win because the Mets won't stop winning too. I think they've only lost 1 game during the 6-game winning streak.
We did distance a little bit from the Phillies, though. I think just maybe 1 or 2
Mets
games.
won 2 out of 3 against them. So
That's right. They played. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
But we
so-
did the thing that last week we said we had to do.
we did. No, we did better. We said we had to win at least 4. We won 6 of
true.
6. So
True.
So we won in extras on Tuesday at Fenway, and then Orlando Arcia tweaked his hammy there in extra innings, which led to the entrance of Vaughn Grissom, who
Kind of a blessing in disguise.
anybody that listened to episode one or two of Blurs you heard us discuss actually when we were talking about potential replacements for Dansby next year at shortstop. I did not think he would be in the big leagues already this season, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, it kind of was a weird series of events. Obviously, I think he's probably he was our number one prospect in the minors after we called up Michael Harris. So he's definitely got the talent on his side. But it comes down to like service time. Usually you don't promote kids that were like in single A this year, all the way up to majors in one season. Just doesn't happen. But
how electric is it that we did that twice this year? Michael Harris and Von Grissom.
It's unreal.
When's the last time that happened? Yeah, when's the last time that happened?
Never.
I had someone
it doesn't happen.
Who's a close friend of ours, shout out Anthony, who brought up, he asked if we were going to talk about this on the pod, and it was that our take on, let's see, who's the other top, or not top, but one of the other top prospects, I think his last name's Schumacher.
Yeah, Braden Shoemake.
Yes, Shoemake. Okay, yeah.
Which we also talked about.
We did.
Episode.
He was saying, I wonder if that guy's pissed because I believe he's been in AAA the whole year. Well, and then Vaughn straight leapfrogged him all the way up.
He did and he didn't. So early last week, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday, there was a big injury in AAA. There was a fly ball to shallow left field. Travis Demerit, who has been in the majors this year, who is a shortstop as well, was playing left field. Braden Shoemake at shortstop goes out for the fly ball really deep, and they collide. Both are injured. Pretty bad.
I didn't know
actually.
They both were. Okay,
they're both injured.
Wow.
And so that's where, there's a saying in baseball is, you have to be exceptionally talented to make the major leagues, but you also have to be extraordinarily lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the window opened up perfectly. The AAA injury and then the injury to Arcia right after that. And then who else are you going to go to? It was either we're going to go find a free agent or we're going to see what Von Grissom can do. And
or you're platooning, was it Andriaza?
Yeah.
I mean, and he can't start every game.
Yeah, Hire is more of a platoon. You don't want to start him every day. He's a utility man, which is valuable, but you don't want to start him every day. But Vaughn came up and he started producing immediately. Hit the ball hard. He hit a home run in his first game over the monster. So what?
He had that Hayward home run. Because didn't Jason Hayward do that same thing in his first game? He had a home run. I think he did, in his rookie season.
He hit a home run on Roger Clemens or something like that. That could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if that timeline matches up, but that's
Jason. It might though. Hayward
something
first hit. I'll look it up.
Like Stroh's Clemens or something, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah,
it might be. That may have been in the playoffs though. But anyways, yes, Hayward definitely he hit a home run his first at bat or something.
Here's a Bleacher Report article from 2010. Atlanta Braves rookie Jason Hayward showed up on opening day, and he does not belong in that group of magical debut. So on opening day, in his first hit was against the Cubs, and he hit a home run. 433 feet home run to right field.
I mean, was it not Clemens? Say who against?
As a Cub, so it wouldn't be Clemens. I don't know.
No, I know that, but they had some damn good pitchers back then themselves, though.
Zambrano?
Carlos Zambrano.
Oh.
Okay, there you go.
That's a big name.
Yeah.
He was an angry man.
He was.
But anyways, back to Von Grissom. He's been performing. He's scored in every game so far, and we've won every game that he's been a part of so far.
Pretty awesome.
It's like that Michael Harris effect.
I was going to say,
it's kind of just a spark to the team, and the guys are just kind of rallying around these injuries. And
I have a question.
Yeah.
So say we get to September, October, Albies comes back, and Azuna's still struggling. Do you just move Grissom to your DH?
I think ideally,
Albies to DH.
I would be having Darno catching, Contreras DHing, Albies at second, and then maybe it's left field. That's going to be Vaughn if he's hit it, because
he's never played left field before though.
Yeah, but I think it's different than Contreras. Contreras is a catcher, and so moving a catcher to the outfield is really hard to do. At least Vaughn's been playing short in second. I mean, I don't think he's played that many innings at second base either, to be honest.
He hasn't.
But like, I think he's probably more of an athlete and can make that transition if he needs to. But I'm sure they're getting him ready for it. If he keeps swinging the bat like that, then he's gonna be on the team somewhere.
Yeah, that Ozuna contract makes me feel more and more sick every day.
Yeah, I mean we're raking in the money. Like it's fine. I kind of just wish they would cut bait with it. Just stop playing him. It's a sunk cost at this point. No reason to hurt the team. He's getting like his 1 home run a week, and he's got 20 on the year, but he's hurting more than he's helping.
He's got he does have some clutch hits.
I was gonna say 2 times as many as Acuna. But yes.
Oh Lord, we'll talk about
that. But Acuna throws darts from right field.
He does.
Yeah, they're talking about Acuna cut off a ball this weekend, and he threw it 99 miles per hour, basically turning like 360 throw. Insane. I mean, on the money. Threw out a second.
To get to that ball and catch it with the glove and turn, but regardless of how the throw turns out, is insanely impressive as it is. And then just like Hayden said, to essentially release 100-mile-an-hour piss missile that just it doesn't just beat the runner to second, it beats him by a good bit too.
Yeah,
it was enough for the not to go to the what I'm trying to say, not the VAR, but whatever they call in baseball, where the guy just called him out. Like the guy who went to second base was like shocked. If you watch afterwards, he just looks at the ground.
He wasn't like mad at the call. He's just like, did that just fucking happen? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean,
he didn't look like he was lollygagging either.
I mean, it seemed like Acuna is like trying to show Michael Harris what's up, because he's got a cannon of his own. He's thrown out a few guys here lately, so he had to show him what throwing harder really is.
Yes.
But I always love plays like that. You can really see the arm strength of these guys.
That 5-tool player.
Yeah, usually, like, I mean, 9 out of 10 times you're seeing a play being made, it's just like they catch it and then they toss it back in like nothing, and like there's not any arm strength to it, but they're saving that arm for that one moment, and then they release it, and you're just like, bam. Oh my god, that's why they make this money. But so yeah, after the Boston series, the Braves went down to Miami and they swept the Fish. So
they did.
There was a few close games in there. Matt Olson has started raking. He hit home runs in like 3 of the 4 games.
Yep.
So he's continued to be hot.
What was it? Today's game, I believe we were losing till the 9th inning?
Yes. Yeah.
And then
Michael Harris hit a home run in the 9th.
And then we load the bases and they walk in a run, and then the third run was on a wild pitch.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No,
yeah,
but I mean,
that's the Marlins.
That is
a tough loss for the Marlins. I'll say what I was proud of the Braves too was we win the day game yesterday, and then we win the doubleheader as well.
Well, didn't Kyle Muller start that game?
Yes, he went 7? Was that today? No,
yesterday's day game I think was Kyle Muller.
Yeah, and was it Bryce Elder today?
Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. Was like we swept the Marlins with our 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th best starting pitchers.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because I mean, and it worked really well how they planned it too, because I'm sure they wanted to line up our best starters for the Mets this week, and
absolutely
that's what we've got going now. So speaking of the Mets, they are coming up tomorrow, or I guess it'll be tonight for you people listening on Monday. Right. Yeah, so. This is our chance. We got the Mets for 4 games at home. We're 5.5 games back now, and the Mets aren't losing. They're winning every series. So if we're gonna make a move, if we're gonna put any pressure on them, it's got to come from this series.
Yeah, so, I mean, we talked about this last time and it didn't happen, but for real this time, you have to win at least 3 of these games to have a chance.
By the way,
yes.
Me and the boys talked a bit about this off air before we started, but I do want to bring it up that I had a monumental fuck up myself. Through the place that I work, I had an opportunity to get tickets to one of these games, and I didn't tell you guys this yet, but it was the Thursday game also.
Whoa, so the Scherzer, DeGrom versus potentially Fried, right?
Yeah, I think it's Fried DeGrom. It should be, and obviously could be, just depending on how the first 3 games go, an insanely pivotal game. So, yeah, I kind of missed the ball on that one, but we'll be watching it from home. We're just gonna bottle that up and keep it deep down inside. and we'll be fine.
We'll save that one for therapy.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so in my opinion, we have to win, like Blake said, 3 of the 4 games here. And what that does, that would put us 2, or I guess 3.5 games back of the Mets, I think. And what that does, like, nobody else is going to put this pressure on the Mets. Like, they're not gonna lose these games to these easy teams. We went through the schedule last week. We're the toughest team they have left. That's just how it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, if we put a little bit of pressure on them, then the Mets are known to implode at times.
Yeah, this is something that I was.
But you have to have a little external pressure first.
You do. Just talking about the teams, we're focusing on the Mets, and it's not like this team I'm about to bring up matters a ton until the playoffs. But do we play the Dodgers again? Do y'all know?
We don't.
Okay, it was just that one series.
Oh God, they've been good, haven't they? We played them twice. We played them in LA early in the season, and then they. Oh,
that's right.
Here.
Yeah. Okay. So the 2 series, but still, it's over though.
Yes.
Until the playoffs. Yes.
Yeah. Which
and they're the best record in baseball now.
Do they?
Yeah. No, they have 79 wins. They're the number 1 team in baseball right now.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna look at. Yeah. They have 79 wins, Mets with 75, and we're at 70. So
and
I was about to say, we got
72.
70 today, and I'm a big record appearance guy. I like those digis on the left to be pretty far apart. And having a 3-digi difference on the left side looks real nice. 70 and 49 looks real good. So much better than
70 and 46.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for 46. Yeah, looks very good.
It does. And honestly, if we're looking ahead at this Mets series, I think the first game having Spencer Strider going up against Carlos Carrasco, it could be that's a good matchup for us. I feel like I'm not saying that's a win for us because Carlos is a good pitcher, but I would rather see that as the first game than Max Scherzer, Jake Odorizzi, which is Wednesday. Like that makes me nervous. That's why I think it's so important to win these first 2.
Odorizzi. There we go. Sorry, I was blanking there, even though you just said it. He's not been great. His first 2 starts. Is it 2 or 3 that he's had now? I know at least 2.
Too many.
Well, my point is, he's not been great. He's not been awful, but he's not been great. And maybe he takes the Scherzer matchup to heart, and that's when he comes alive. Well, also though, we're kind of seeing why the Astros gave. They were like, okay, we'll take your struggling closer, and here's our worst starting pitcher. Or worst is not the right word, but you guys see what
I know what you mean. But here's something else too to add to that. Max Scherzer historically is not great against the Braves, but he's been very good this year against us. Yes. So maybe we finally get our game against him, because when he played for the Dodgers and other teams he played for, we've done pretty well against him historically. So we're due for a good game against the Mets.
Hayden, what'd you find there?
Sorry, I was like digging deep. I was trying to find what our record was last year on August 14th.
It wasn't much above 500.
We were 61 and 57. So we are a better team than last year. It's just our division's a little bit better. So.
Remember last week we talked about it. I think it was on that day last week we had just hit
500.
Yeah.
We also talked about last week that we need to start another 14-game win streak, and we're 6 games in. So we're
let's go.
We're going streaking down through the quad.
Everybody's doing it.
Man, if we say we do sweep the Mets here. Oh man, that'd be so impressive.
Blake, don't say that.
Yeah, such a beautiful mouth.
So, we have to figure out something, right? So we talked a little bit of shit. Like they used Austin Riley saying that the division has to go through us. They kind of used that as a rallying point against us. So that kind of backfired. We hopefully we took a little bit from what happened. I know that,
but yeah.
You can tell the guys are pissed about what happened. And that's not how they wanted that to go.
Yeah, they were embarrassed.
Which is good. It's a good response, because we were talking about the happy-go-lucky nature of how we play ball and how that's probably got to change. And it looks like they felt the same way.
Yeah, it seems like something changed. A mentality change, maybe just taking things a little bit more serious and it's got to happen quick. We're pretty much a lock for the playoffs still, but got to see something change.
And Matt Olson's getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, he's
for sure. This whole second half, really.
He's been quiet all year, though. Like, from not from a performance perspective, but
Right.
from a media perspective,
Right.
he's been rock solid. He had some struggles, but everybody does. That's what baseball is. You have your ups and your downs. But
Yeah.
he started the season really hot, and he got some recognition for that. But yeah, I mean, he's pretty fucking solid at first base, and he's doing a hell of a job filling Freddie's shoes.
Just talk about like what you talked about in one of the earlier episodes, as far as just think about the mental aspect of what he had to come into, the situation he was whose shoes he was stepping into, and also he switched leagues. A bunch of teams he never played, so
that makes a difference.
It's
a lot of pitchers you're not familiar with, so new environment. Even though he is a local, it's the whole new clubhouse. I mean, everything, new teammates to new clubhouse attendance, stuff you're not comfortable with. So.
For sure.
Have y'all seen how good Freddie's doing recently? Have you looked?
I don't really. No,
I know he's been hot, but
let me just read you off some of these stats, because I mean, Matt Olson's been great. He's been great, but let me just read you Freddie. So Freddie's got a 4.6 WAR. Has 15 homers on the year. So Matt's beating him there. He's got 24 homers. But he's batting 323 with 79 runs, 72 RBIs, 9 stolen bases. To compare to Matt has a 2.6 WAR, so 2 points lower. He's only batting 250. He's got 21 less runs, but 3 more RBI and 0 stolen bases.
Yeah,
that's kind of
the stolen base one is surprising.
What's going on here?
That's very surprising.
I mean, I think that's to be expected, though. So, Freddie's, nothing against the Braves lineup. It's really good, but he's moved to a more loaded offense, which gives him more protection. He was the headliner of the Braves offense for years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while he did have guys like Acuna and Austin Riley, there's even bigger names out west that are protecting him. Pitchers have to throw to him before they get to other names like Mookie Betts.
Trey Turner.
Exactly. Yeah,
then Freddie, and then Max Muncy right after him.
I mean, it's murderer's row. So
it is.
He gets pitchers are pitching to him more. They have to throw him strikes; they're not just walking them. But yeah, so that's what happens. But we'll see. It'll be interesting over the next 2 to 3 years to see like if the WAR count starts changing a little bit in the Braves' direction towards Olsen as he comes more into his prime and Freddie starts to fade out, and that's kind of why that all went down that way.
Because the Braves know their window is bigger than just this year. Like they understand that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And also, I think, like you were saying earlier, I think Matt will settle more and more into this role with the Braves. It's his first year here. It's huge shoes to fill, and a weird circumstance to fill those shoes. So there had to be some weird pressure and some weird dynamics coming in.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to dig deep into his stats. I'm interested in looking at his splits after that Dodger series, because he did heat up like right after that. It's kind of just like letting things
maybe it's closure
letting
for
the
him
dust
too.
settle. Everything closure on everything. Real quick, I wanted to touch on something that I saw, or a couple things that I saw on Twitter. So Saturday, Acuna had Blake, that was very good. I don't know if anybody can see that because you were talking. Acuna did his home run celebration, which he's been dedicating to LeBron James this year.
Yes.
So most of his home runs, he's doing like the chest pound.
He's done the Trey one too, though.
Yeah,
he mixed the two together one time, which was sick.
Which Blake just stood up and did that. If you guys aren't watching the YouTube or can't see him. But it was to lead off a game, which is exciting. We're playing the Marlins as part of the doubleheader. It just seemed like pretty low stakes to like do like a super intense celebration, and so like some Mets media was like making fun of him for like showing that or like showing out like that. What do you guys think about like home run celebrations and stuff like that? To me,
it's like, and first of all, I love them. I want more of them. I think baseball needs more of them. But also within that, like within what you're just saying, I understand this. So like if you play for the Reds and you you have hit 4 home runs this year and you hit another one, or even if you're the Reds leader in home runs, so that means you've probably hit 7 or something. They, maybe don't go all out on it. But, and I think I said this to you guys when we were talking on Twitter, is if you hit the first pitch of any game out of the yard, because it was the first pitch, right?
Yep.
Yeah, first.
It wasn't just a leadoff home run; it was a first pitch home run. If you do that, in any level of baseball, I don't care where you're at. Yeah, go all out, man. Pretend like you just won Game 7 of the World Series, because that's fucking cool.
I'm gonna have to agree with Aaron for a little different reason. Like, I also agree that leadoff home run is a spectacular thing. You're putting your team up 1-0 right off the rip. Like, it's such a huge cushion, especially in baseball. And if you have a great pitcher going, it could be all you need. But for Acuna, he's known for his leadoff home runs.
Exactly.
I feel like the last couple of seasons he would get like 4, 5, 6, 7 a year. So
what was that streak he had a couple of years ago where it was what was it, like 4 or 5 games in a row he hit a leadoff home run?
That was part of the Marlins feud as well, because that streak ended when they hit him. They hit him on his first at bat of the game.
Yep.
He doesn't even he has bad blood with the Marlins too, so that's another reason to give him the kudos here. I just think for him, one, it was good for him to hit this. Like, I think it's the second of the year only, and the last one came in the very beginning of the season. 2, he hates the Marlins, so let him go off against them.
His second leadoff home run, you mean?
Yes, second leadoff home run. And it's only been his second home run since All-Star break. So I think he's starting to feel like himself again. He did rest the end Sunday, but I think it's just, he went all out this series. You're starting to see Acuna. We saw a flash of Acuna these last couple of weeks that we haven't seen all season. Yeah, he's got his batting average up to 273 now.
Yeah, he's heating up. Good. He is, absolutely.
But yeah, I guess apparently like the turf that in Miami is like really tough on players. So he played both games of the doubleheader and then was having a little bit of soreness. And that's where he was injured last year as well.
I also want to point out to what we were all just saying as far as him heating up. Yeah, it may have only been his second home run since the break, but he's getting on base.
Yeah, he is.
He's scoring runs
on the base pass too.
Yes.
He can change a game in an instant.
Absolutely.
So as for my perspective on the celebration, I'm back and forth on it, but like, to me, I like seeing a player play kind of cool, and like they do this all the time. But also from like
shut up, Freddie.
From like putting on a show perspective, like
from the entertainment aspect is where I'm coming from, because like baseball is a sport that struggles at connecting to the youth.
You need to get a little spice.
Yeah, we need a little more spice in the game, and I think that does it.
Though my main critique is I want an original celebration. I don't want a copied from another sport celebration. I want him to hire a choreographer this offseason.
Well, before I think I know what you're going to say, Blake, but let me just get in and say that I think copying a celebration once is cool as an ode to that player.
Yes.
Like, that's my boy LeBron. That's my boy Trey, especially the Trey one. But yeah, if you're doing it every single time, then it's kind of just like you're pressing square on the show. Like, you know what I mean?
It's like your go-to celebration in FIFA, because there's like 1,000 celebrations.
Just a dead fish over and over.
Dead fish.
That was a great one.
The back flips, yes.
No, or the cradle of the ball. For me, what I like about it is he's picking athletes in other sports who are obscenely popular. And baseball lacks popularity. And so something Acuna has done that even Mike Trout hasn't done is he's broken through baseball popularity. I think Acuna is more popular than Mike Trout is. Like
I think absolutely
more popular than Mike Trout ever got. And I know we live in Atlanta, but if you look at like commercials, or if you even look at like what ESPN's doing, Acuna's on a ton of things. The fact that he got voted into the All-Star game on like an off year for him and he's a number one vote getter, it shows how big he is. And I think celebrations like LeBron's celebration helps him get that notoriety, because it puts him on Sports Center. It puts him on.
It does.
Number one response to that, his Snickers commercial is very funny, and he does a great job. Number two, that kind of ties in the face of baseball, Fernando Tatis Jr. He got nailed for PED use, and he has an 80-game suspension. So they're not going to be pushing him front and center as much anymore. So they might do that with Ronnie.
Why don't we talk about why he got?
Dude, who
put that in the notes?
Who in his press team thought it was okay to lie about that? He's
definitely lying.
Yeah, he's 100% lying. But then why pick that lie? Why be like, I'm not using PEDs. I'm just a disgusting human being that doesn't take a shower and I have a ringworm. I know. I'm kidding.
Let's tell the folks what's going on here.
Was a locker room stuff.
Fernando Tatis Jr. got popped for PED use with a drug that's like...
It's a steroid.
Yes, but I gotta look it up now because it's like sound.
Clostabol, I think.
Clostabol, but it has the same exact name as has almost the same exact name as a ringworm.
Yes. So it sounds very similar to a drug that's used to treat ringworm. So his excuse for using a completely different drug was that he was being treated for ringworm with this steroid. Which none of this fucking matters because everything should go through the team doctor. Everything. Yes, it doesn't matter what the prescription's for. So they handle all that shit, and they have access to all of that.
Right.
So he's just a lot. Basically, he's a liar and a cheater.
Yeah, so I wonder if he gets fined. I wonder if he gets fined more from lying about it, because he's trying to save face, but yeah, he's just lying. He's
preview for what is to come later on this week. Roger Goodell would fine him more for lying. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, he'd lie. I
guarantee you. Yeah, he would fine you more.
He could use that baseball bat on like 10 children and probably still play. But
but Lord. But anyway, so maybe Ronnie, get your own celebration coordinated this offseason. Then you can do your own celebration every time.
And then LeBron will do your celebration after.
There you go.
Yeah. Getting on the cover of the show would also help. I don't why he hasn't been that, I don't know, but yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Could happen. Yeah.
Let's
put the whole team on there.
It's going to be a Blurst campaign.
It's just watch it be a Blur Sports cover.
Oh my God.
Just us wearing tights and having baseball
things
bats.
to come. That's right.
So
anyway.
Yeah, speaking of a celebration, how about that celebration after that Almada goal this weekend?
Oh, love that segue there, Hayden. Yeah, I mean, that was the celebration was good, but that goal was, if you guys didn't see it, man,
an absolute screamer.
It was a screamer, a worldie.
I think Gutman's still better though, right? From last week, would you say?
I don't know.
It's hard. They're both great.
I don't think so, because Gutman's did have the benefit of going through a lot of bodies, because it was low enough for that keeper to save it. I just don't think he saw it.
I don't think he thought Gutman was going to strike it either.
There was not a keeper in the world that was saving Almada's goal yesterday. Not one.
The keeper even made a great effort too.
Yeah. I mean, David De Gea, Jordan Pickford, even back to Iker Casillas. They're not going to get that.
What's the other guy name? Peter Cech?
Yeah. If you want to go back to old helmet head, Peter Cech there.
Helmet head himself.
He
wore a helmet.
Yeah, he wore, exactly. Yeah, you remember that look? I thought you would remember that, Hayden.
The Ron Weasley?
Well, yeah. And it's because now we make fun, but it's because Peter Cech got fucked up in a game one time and actually had to wear that he hit the post, I believe. Yeah. I think it was just
headed the post.
It was on a corner.
I mean, it's a hard job as a keeper.
It was on a corner and he got hit by somebody else that hit him into the post, and the man got fucked up.
I'm surprised it doesn't happen more.
Yeah, it is amazing that doesn't happen more. But yeah, so let's kick it over to United. Still, we're not going to spend too much time on it, but like I said in the beginning, they didn't lose again. Okay, so that's great. We love to see that. So we went up to old Kroger Land. That's right, folks. Cincinnati to face FC Cincinnati. To put it quite simply, I was super happy with the lineup that Gonzalo Pineda put out there. Second game in a row, Almada started.
Which makes sense.
It makes sense. He still put out Rocco Rios Novo, and I'll talk about that later. And I don't love it, but Atlanta honestly dominated about 80% of the game. And starting with, I think about the 17th or 18th minute, Almada scores that goal that we just got done talking about. Atlanta's up 1-0. Now, we still did Atlanta things. The good part, there's a good part and a bad part there. As if you've listened to the podcast in the past, you know that Atlanta things are scoring early and immediately giving up a goal, and then not getting back into the game, perhaps even giving up another goal, and you either lose or you have to pull yourself back to a draw. Well, while that did happen here, it was on less screw-ups. I think in that first half, we really only had 2 screw-ups. They just happened to both give Cincinnati a goal.
Which seems to be the trend for the season. I feel like when we do have screw ups, it leads to a goal.
Well, yeah, but what I meant was, let's say, and there's been past games where it's been inevitable because we'll screw up 8 or 10 times in a half, and they score 1 or 2 goals off that. I really think in this one it was a lot cleaner. They just happened to pounce and since he's a good team, That's what good teams do when you give them opportunities. So we actually found ourselves down 2-1 at the half, despite the great play. A former Atlanta United player scored against us for the first goal of Cincinnati's, Brandon Vasquez, who had a weird time in Atlanta. I thought we should have kept him, but there was some drama going on we can get into maybe later. But I think one of the other players, Ezekiel Barco.
Was this his girlfriend?
Yeah, he encroached on a relationship, and
Barco did, right?
Barco onto.
Excuse me?
On the Brandon Vasquez's lady. Yeah,
and,
no
and
joke.
the worst part about that is Barco probably could have been a star for Atlanta, but he just
It actually screwed both of. No, I mean, sorry, not screwed both their careers. It kind of screwed Barco's career because it ruined him in the eyes of Tata Martino, and he really didn't play the rest of the year, even though he was one of our more talented players. I don't even think he played in the MLS Cup, the championship match that we won because of that. And then Brandon Vasquez, understandably so, didn't want to be on the team with him anymore. So we let Vasquez go, and then a year after that, we let Barco go too. Barco's still technically a part of the organization. He's just on loan back down in South America.
I gotta say, I love the drama, and I feel like this is like the third sport this has happened in now that I've heard of. There was the Zach Wilson mom thing earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10 years ago there was the LeBron James who was it?
Delonte West and his mom.
Was it Delonte West?
It was Delonte West and LeBron's mom.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy, dude.
I will say too.
I was just gonna say, and then there's I don't know how many people remember this, but in the Premier League has had their share of drama like that. John Terry, who played for Chelsea and the English national team, was notorious for being a shit teammate. Not so much on the field, but in that regard.
Wow.
I believe I'll say multiple occasions.
Atlanta United probably has the most drama of any Atlanta team when it comes to
now, unfortunately,
not having to do with the sport itself, but just stuff around the team. Right. I feel like Atlanta United's been in drama ever since we won the championship.
But
maybe since Vic.
There's
pretty high drama.
Yeah. There is that.
That's true.
But yeah, so
Calvin Ridley, I guess, especially here too.
Since Brandon Vasquez, we had a great defensive possession, and then it's like. And this is one thing I kind of wanted to talk about with the game. You can see it more and more. We're so good at the counterattack because we're so high-powered on the offensive end and fast. I think the guys get too excited when the other team or when we force a turnover. Because what happened that led to the first Cincinnati goal was we had a great defensive stop. We steal the ball at the what would be the top of the key, if you will, in soccer, just outside the 18-yard box, and all of our guys jet down the field to start a counterattack, but the guy with the ball, while looking down the field to find one of them, turns it back over. So now he's the only guy back there. I mean, there's a couple other guys still around, the defenders that didn't jet down the field. But yeah, bada bing, bada boom. They made a couple key passes, and Brandon Vasquez slots one home, 1-1. And then just before the half, a set piece bit us in the ass yet again. This time in a weird way. We defended it initially well, but they put in a rebound shot. It was a strange shot. It hit off the ground and skied up in the air. And sadly, one of my favorite dudes on the team, Juanjo, he was at a weird angle. He couldn't really head it. He's standing at the post of the goal. He couldn't really head it, but he also couldn't really kick it. And so he tried to chest it, and it bounced off his chest and went straight into the net.
Where's Rocco's Rios on that? I think
he was on the other side. So okay. He started near side as it came in, and then it got rebounded out to the far side. So Novos goes over there to the far post, and Juanjo went back to cover the near post, and then that just happened. So that kind of sucked. We come out, we start to dominate the game again. We actually hit the post 3 times in this game. Marcelino Moreno, who's hit the post more times than probably anyone in MLS this year, did it again. This time it sucked because he hit it twice on the same shot. He put forth an absolute cracker that hit underneath the crossbar. It beat the keeper. It hits underneath the crossbar, bounces down in front of the keeper, back up and hits the crossbar again and out.
What kind of bounce is that?
Yeah, it was some FIFA shit. And so, yeah, Almada, on almost an exact replica of the first shot that he made, had a similar shot that hit the post instead of going in. He's off by like an inch or two, probably. And then I think Ronaldo Cisneros also hit the post. So They also hit the post once too, and they looked good. Like I said, Cincy is a good team.
Aren't they also fighting for the playoffs though? Like they're not in the playoffs.
They're
They're
above
in,
us.
yeah, they're way above us. They're in the East is so the East is so tight.
They're in ninth.
Yeah, they're in ninth. I believe only 5.
But they're tied with 6.
Well, that's the thing. I believe only 5 points separates 13th and 5th.
Oh,
wow.
yes. Yeah.
So, which is insane.
And we're 13th.
And we're 13th.
So back to the game, like, did you think that we outplayed Cincy or what?
Absolutely. No, we really did.
So we gotta start finishing these games because we are so close. There's 10 games left. Like,
yes.
As you said, the table's tight. If we start winning some of these close matches, then we can make the playoffs.
It looks like
playoffs.
It looks like a turning point. Oh, and Andrew Gutman scored again, by the way. So we go down 2-1. I forgot to say this. And then after scoring the first goal of his career last year with Atlanta, he adds a second one this week. So he's actually the savior yet again.
Back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks. He scores he scores a game winner and then a game saver this week. So I felt like we could have at best won 4-1, at worst, outside of what did happen, 3-2, and yet 2-2 because soccer, she is a cruel mistress.
So since losing to the Galaxy, we've tied 1 and tied, which that's not.
Yeah.
That's 5 points.
In fact, out of our last 5, we've only lost 1, so that's good too. But we've drawn 4. So yeah. Anyway, 7 points out of your last 5 isn't great, but it's still nice to not lose.
Yeah.
But one time in your last 5. So I do think we, like Hayden asked last week, I do think we are at a turning point. It's looked much more like a turning point than any other stretch of games we've had. We just got to keep eliminating those mistakes and then the keep building on the offensive power that we've got. So
we need to finish them.
Yes. That was Sam's Soccer Seg of the Week, presented by Sam.
Thanks for the money, Sam.
Yes.
Sam.
Sam. Let's say Sam. So let's move on, though, to the UGA preseason preview that we've been doing the past few weeks. Like I said, today's is going to be the quarterbacks or the QBs and special Ts, as I've got it put here. And let's see. What do you guys want to start with? Do we want to start with the special teams room and then work our way to the
let's do that.
To the second most important position outside of center? Okay, yeah. So
let's do that.
How in depth we getting with special teams? We talking
not that in depth. No, we're basically gonna because we know Jack Podlesny. We don't have to go over him a ton.
Yeah, J Pod.
Yeah, J Pod.
That makes me miss Podrick.
Yes. J Pod is no Rodrigo, but the man's coming to his own. He's been very good. He'll be a senior this year upcoming. But the main guy I wanted to talk about, because we already talked about this guy. It was insane that he was a 4th round draft pick as a punter. Mm-hmm. But Jake Camarda, we lose him. That's a horrible loss. Like, rarely is your punter leaving a gut punch, but that is. So we got a true freshman from Australia, folks.
Brett Thorson,
the number 1 punter out of high school in this class that we just signed. His name's Brett Thorson.
G'day.
G'day, mate. So he was coached by Nathan Chapman and John Smith, and they work at Pro Kick Australia, which is I don't know if you guys know much about it, but I think we've all known the influx of Australian punters and kickers over the past 20 years. Probably about 10 years in college football, and then thus into the NFL. And they are credited with developing 17 of those punters and kickers.
Wow.
So they've been, I think LSU had a good one that did that rugby style punt. I don't know if he does a rugby style punt. It would be cool to see. I don't think we've ever had a guy like that at UGA. But either way, if you're going to replace your punter, getting the number 1 prospect out of high school is the way to do it. So
punter you.
Yeah, punter you. He's from Melbourne. And he's 6'2", 210. Blake, I know you love tall people, so that's good.
That's a big punter.
He's a big punter, baby. I'll tell you, he probably played rugby, to be honest with you.
Probably. I'll say too, people forget this, but punter's first part of your defense.
Yeah,
It helped us a lot last year.
It's a
Camarda
game of
pulling
field
back.
position.
it
People
is.
forget that.
That's what I'm saying with Camarda. That's why I wasn't joking. Like that is a huge loss.
Yeah.
And yeah. So anyway, so like I said, we know J Pod. The man was clutch for us in several moments last year. I think he'll continue to be doing that. We're not going to go into the long snappers or jammers and God, jammers and what's
Gunners?
the other one? Yeah, gunners. Thank
You
you.
know
I don't
what's
know how I
crazy
lost
about
that.
Jake Camarda?
Camarda, yeah.
Camarda. He got drafted by the Buccaneers, who I'm pretty
Yes.
sure aren't they the same team that drafted that kicker from
They-
FSU way
they
too
are.
early?
They are. They drafted him in the second round. Yeah,
And he doesn't even play in the NFL anymore, does he?
I don't think so. No,
Boy,
that's
oh
a tough
boy.
look. He did. I don't know. I wouldn't have drafted him in the second round, but they couldn't have predicted the mental collapse he was gonna have. I mean, that guy looked like he was gonna be the best kicker of all
What was
time.
that guy's name? Robert Aguayo.
Yeah.
Let's see. Roberto Aguayo. Let's see where
Because he was
he's
the
at now.
kicker on that Jameis Winston national championship team.
Right.
Yeah, he went second. Second
While you're looking that up, one name to circle is the backup kicker, Jared Zirkle.
Whoa, look at the man.
I know nothing about him besides his name, but circle that name.
Zirkles.
We might have to come back to that later.
Zucchini Zirkles. They're not bad. I don't know if y'all have ever had them, but
So Aguayo was drafted or signed to the New England practice squad last season, but he got released in January. Or no, that was January 2021 he got released. So he's actually been out of the NFL for a full season now.
Yep, that sounds about right. So, where are we at? Kiaris Jackson is going to be returning punts. Looks like Kenny McIntosh and Kiaris will be returning kicks. I think.
That seems weird to me.
On which part?
Why would they have Kenny McIntosh returning kicks? I mean,
I think they're able to do that just because of how much time he's going to split with the other running backs.
we
Specifically,
don't have like a freshman running back that's like a stud that they want to get the ball in
well,
his hands.
I'm glad you say that because we pointed him out already in the in the first preview we did. But the freshman running back that we've got coming in, I think was the number 4 overall running back, I believe. Branson Robinson, I believe was his name. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah, Branson Robinson. He might get that duty. Again, I'm operating off of what we're reading coming out of training camp and what we saw in the spring game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say that there's a good chance, to your point, that he does get some looks back there. Because they don't want they do want to minimize the knocks on Kenny. I think Kiaris though he has to be out there. He was our punt returner when he was healthy last year and the year before. So Kiaris is extremely electric in the open field. So that's pretty much special teams. Unless you guys have something else you want to add.
No, I'll just say Branson Robinson, that he's getting those Nick Chubb comparisons recently. I think Dogs Nation had that report.
They did.
I think he actually may get more carries than we think he might on the offense.
Oh no, I think so. I think for sure, because what I could see happening is, and it all depends on how Dijon Edwards does and stuff like that. But I could see by the time we get things really rolling, that it's Milton and McIntosh like 1A, 1B, and then Robinson after that, depending on how Dijon Edwards progresses as well. He'll be a junior this year, so not much to worry about in the running back room for sure. So let's make our way to the QBs. We don't really have to talk about old Stet.
The old mailman, baby.
Yeah, the old mailman. We kind of covered him. Didn't we talk about him last week a pretty good bit? We talked about the
new look
stuff
and
like that.
how he's jacked out of his mind now.
Yeah,
and
so I think we've discussed Stetson.
he's my mom's favorite player now. So
Oh well, I think he's a lot of mom's favorite players. But
you think Zach Wilson's mom? Oh wait, no, it wasn't his mom. I forgot his friend's mom.
Wow.
Girlfriend's mom.
Stet's new look is good, but he's no Zach Wilson. So, but let's
Aaron's got a type.
Hey, let's start with the incoming freshman, a guy that is from very close to where we are from, old Gunnar Stockton. He quarterbacked the Rabun County high school football team, coached by none other than high school football legend Jabo Shaw. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Jabo is their head coach.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so they had a phenomenal team. Like I said, led by Gunnar Stockton. I believe he was the number 12 prospect in the entire state of Georgia, and he was the number 7 overall quarterback in the nation.
Yep.
Out of little old Rabun County. How crazy is that?
I think you're gonna see more of that too because of Jabo Shaw's program up there.
Oh no, you absolutely will. Now Jabo, credit to him where it's due, but he didn't build that program.
No,
His
dad
did.
Yeah.
Lee.
Side note, Coach Shaw, Jabo's dad and Connor's dad was at White County for a long time. Shout out White County.
Yes.
Like when we were in elementary school. So,
which I don't know if we've covered it, but that's where we're from. That's where we went.
So
White County, Helen, Georgia.
Nothing against who we brought in or anything, but man, if we had been able to hold on to 2 Division I quarterbacks, one of which played in the NFL for a little bit, man, could have paid some dividends if we
put us on the map.
Sucked up a few losing seasons there, but
yes, hey, it's okay. Sorry, Blake, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about Gunnar. I think he's in a perfect spot to. I don't know if they'll redshirt him this year, but maybe. But sit out and let Stetson do what he's got to do this year, and then take over next year, which kind of puts a question mark on Carson Beck.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because there is going to be an insane competition next year.
Yeah,
and, it's going to be between this man and the next 2 dudes we're about to talk about. But before we move on from Gunnar, I do want to say that even though he was just a number 12 prospect, well, I don't mean to say just because that is very high, but
Georgia's also a great state for recruiting.
It's
probably the second best behind Texas.
Yeah, top 2, maybe 3. Honestly, I'd put Texas at like 3 or 4 recruiting wise. I think it's Georgia, Florida, and California.
Cool.
Right now, honestly. But anyway, he was the Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year though, this past season, and he's also the number 4 dual threat quarterback in the nation. So he's got some wheels on him. But I just want to throw out some of his insanely impressive stats at Rabun County this past year. Led him to an 11-2 record. They got to the quarterfinals in the playoffs. And he completed 71% of all of his passes for 4,134 yards and 55 touchdowns with only 1 interception.
Wow.
Yeah. So
did you say 1 interception?
Only 1, 55-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Wow.
So yeah, that's kind of crazy. But we can go ahead and move on from Gunnar there because we need to talk about the guys he's going to be competing with next year. And that is going to be, let's start with Brock Vandegrift, actually, because he's the guy that had an insane amount of hype coming out of high school. I think Brock, let me make sure that I've got my notes right here. I think Brock was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school when he signed with us. Let me double check that. Yeah, he was Rivals.com number 1 quarterback prospect in his class. Which is just insane. I mean, Georgia keeps getting these highly touted recruits. He actually did play last year when he was a redshirt freshman. I believe he came in after Carson Beck did in the UAB game, where I think we put up 69 on him. Is that right? But
it was a lot.
Do what?
So it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. The interesting thing about Brock, though, is pretty cool. And you don't see this often. While he was the nation's number 1 quarterback, he's from Athens. He played for Prince Avenue. So yeah, he's a hometown kid. I think he grew up over in Bogart, and like I said, played for Prince Avenue. The guy disappointed. Their disappointment certainly isn't the word, but I think a lot of Georgia fans were thinking that he would take Stetson's spot. And that just didn't happen last year. Obviously JT transferring in had a lot to do with that too, but yeah, he
was Brock a sophomore this year now?
He'll be a redshirt sophomore this year.
Okay.
Apparently he originally committed to Oklahoma as well.
I believe that's right, yeah.
And then he decommitted.
He did, yes.
Which, you know what, kids? Committing is like marriage, okay? You don't do it unless you're sure, like that coach said last week.
like that coach said. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, let's move on from old Brock there, because while he's highly touted, the man who has been a surprise is Carson Beck, as Blake pointed out a second ago. Carson Beck wasn't nearly as highly touted. I think from what I've got here, while he was a part of the Elite 11, think he was only a 4-star prospect. Let me make sure of that.
I think he's a ninth quarterback.
You said nice quarterback?
Ninth
of
his year.
I see. Yeah. The 9th overall quarterback. Yeah, there it is. So, yeah, like of the 3 that we've talked about now, he's the one that's had the least hype out of high school. I think he came from Florida. He might be from Jacksonville. But anyway, the dude won the backup role. I mean, and won it handedly. And I believe he's done, that he'll maintain that throughout the fall. So in the spring game, I think he started it with like, what was it? I think his like first pass in the spring game was like a 50-yard bomb to Kearis Jackson, I think, or something like that. The dude looked really good. He had 88 yards passing and a touchdown in that UAB game that we talked about. And I think he played for like a quarter against Vanderbilt. I'm pretty sure we just ran the ball, but still, he's gotten in there. He also had 77 yards and a tutty against Charleston Southern.
He should have some chance to play this year too if we go up big.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I think that we will several times. But yeah, so those are the quarterbacks outside of Stetson. Stet's the guy, barring something awfully unforeseen this season. He's the one that we're going to see every single game. But it's the year after that is going to be, if you've got a good rotation of quarterbacks, it happens every 2 or 3 years. There's going to be a big, like, that's the talk of next summer.
Right. The quarterback situation. And then one will inevitably transfer somewhere else because they will want to start probably.
Yeah, probably. I'd say that the person odds on favorite for that would be Brock Vandegrift, given how highly touted he was out of high school. I'm not saying he's going to, but I'm just saying if he doesn't become the one,
he might transfer.
That he'd be the one to transfer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that I believe might just wrap up our UGA preview there.
Now, here's a preview for you.
Anything you wanted to add on the end of that?
Yeah, here's a preview for you. January 2023. Georgia's playing Alabama in the national championship for a rematch from last year.
Oh my God.
We're down at halftime. We benched Stetson Bennett and we put in Carson Beck, who wins us the game.
Oh, so we pull a reverse,
yes.
A reverse Hurts.
Can you believe they did that shit and it worked? I think about that all the time.
They did it the other way around the next year.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? They pulled Hurts and put in Tagovailoa, and then they pulled Tagovailoa and put in Hurts. Jesus, it just
does it hurt.
It hurts when you get that much. Yeah, no, it hurts, don't it?
Hurts to watch.
But last year makes that hurt go away a good bit. So yeah, Blake, why don't we toss it on over to you?
Let's talk about future hurt.
yeah. Why don't we talk about that?
So this past weekend, it's Monday morning. This past weekend on Friday, to be exact, the Falcons had their first preseason game in the season against the Detroit Lions.
They did.
I think this is a great first matchup for the Falcons, not because Detroit's going to be a stud team this year, but the Detroit Lions actually do have, if not the best, the top 3 offensive line. So a really good test for our defensive linemen, who we know has been an issue for years past. And they also have a physical defense. The team plays hard under Dan Campbell. I will say that.
Oh yeah. The man's electric.
Oh, he's electric. Yeah, I think he played tight end? But God, I think he did. But man, I feel like he's a linebacker out there yelling at them. He's not scared of anything, which I guess tight ends are almost like the linebackers of the offense in some ways, pushing those.
It's a shame this will be his last year as a head coach in the NFL, but
dude, it won't be. They love him too much.
The man's got too much fire, man.
Yeah, there's
he does. But think about it. Didn't they go like 1-15
last year? No, yes. I think they won 4 games.
Was it 4?
I think
they started off like 0-10 or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Maybe it was 2 games. I don't even remember. Hold up, 2021
Give us a look.
Record. Yep.
What are you typing over there?
They went 3-13-1, so 3 wins and a
tie. They tied. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, if he does worse than that this year, I don't know.
I mean, they got to be better than the Bears this year. If they're not, if they're last place again in their division, yes, I kind of agree with you. But yeah,
you ain't met Martha Firestone Ford, all right? She will pull the trigger on you.
Well, I don't see why. They haven't had their one successful coach, James Caldwell. They fired him, so let's.
They did.
God. But yeah, we're not a Detroit podcast, and thank God we're not.
It'd be very different. It would not be called
a
curse.
curse.
It would just be straight curse.
Just cursed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Falcons, we won 27-23. Preseason winning is not a major deal, but I feel like this was what's that word I'm looking for? Not a significant or momentous, but like a symbolic win for us. We haven't won a preseason game since 2019. So it was a huge honor to get a win, to see the dub. Also, I feel like it was cool to see Desmond Ridder go out there and actually have a decent game. So I have some stats here.
He did.
Marcus Mariota in the first team offense went down and scored on the first drive. Mariota only completed two of two passes for 36 yards. One was a 24-yard pass to Drake London, our rookie receiver, who got injured in the play, but it is a minor injury. He should only miss maybe another preseason game.
That was a hell of a throw too. I just watched.
It was a great throw
on the run, like well covered through.
It looked great.
Perfect dart. Yeah,
it was a good route
and catch, because if you look at it, a lot of times on drag routes like that, on a rollout where you're mirroring the quarterback, a lot of times, even if the throw is perfect, they catch it with their body
and go out of bounds.
Drake London did exactly what you're supposed to do. He put the triangle up there. He caught it with his hands, and it looked good.
It was an exciting play, and it was something that I'm not trying to diss on Matt Ryan. We will miss Matt Ryan, but something Matt Ryan doesn't do those. He was not mobile enough to make some of these rollout throws as fast as Mariota's running. I mean, he's outrunning another player to throw that ball. I'm not saying Matt Ryan couldn't do it. Just saying
let's cool it on that. The man had better wheels than you remember.
Matt probably had better.
I'm not talking about
presence.
Matt 5. I'm not talking about Matt 5-10 years ago. I'm talking about Matt Ryan.
I got you.
I agree. Matt Ryan, I think, was underrated fast. Kind of like
very
like
underrated.
Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is kind of underrated fast.
I don't know.
People know he's fast.
Yeah, people know he's
so
fast.
Matt Ryan was just underrated fast.
Yeah, Matt Ryan was underrated fast.
Mariota is like faster than I thought he was, and so was Desmond Ridder. So that was the other thing that happened. We had Marcus Mariota rushed 3 times for 23 yards, 7.7 yards a carry. What worried me about his rushing, I don't know if you watch some of this, he just got hit a lot. Like, he puts his whole body out there. It makes me nervous. Like, I can see why he hasn't made it through some seasons, because he's not sliding. And Desmond Ridder kind of did the opposite. So Desmond Ridder, when he rushed 6 times for 59 yards, 9.8 yards a carry. He slid almost every time. He didn't get tackled hard. Ridder had some impressive runs. Mariota got hit every time, but I mean, he still got the first downs. The fact that Mariota and the first team offense went down and scored a touchdown on that first drive, I thought was huge. Like, Mariota needed it. I think the Falcons offense needed that. They didn't even get Kyle Pitts didn't even get involved. Didn't have to.
I think Falcons Nation needed it. We just needed a touchdown.
We did, especially after
we
the
didn't
Lions.
see a lot of
the Lions scored so easily too. So I will say this: the Lions offensive line, which we said was really good, they put the hurt on our defensive line. They ran the ball effectively. Our secondary had a couple of mishaps. It wasn't AJ Terrell. He played nicely. It was a couple other players. I will say Jalen Hawkins, our other starting safety, did not play because they're resting people who have slight injuries, which makes sense. You don't want it. Marlon Davidson didn't play as well, who's another person who could have been out there on the first team defense.
You don't want to have a Zach Wilson on your hands.
No, you don't. So to recap the preseason, quarterback mobility is something I noticed. It's going to open up the field more. I just especially when our offensive line's a little question mark at some areas, like you're going to need to run. So Mariota and Ridder both are poised to do that. They can both handle the rock and they can both run. I was very impressed with the running. Like I said, Mariota took too many hits, I thought. Ridder looked poised. His stats, if you if you didn't watch the game and you're just looking at the stats, you're going to look at 10 for 22 and you're like, well, he completed less than half his passes. But if you watch the game, he probably had 4 or 5 drops, like receivers dropping open passes.
Right.
So they weren't. He put a lot of balls on the money. Now I will say, when the pocket collapsed, that's where you saw him having some incomplete passes, or he tucked in and ran. So I mean, he had 60 yards rushing, which is a lot when you're only playing 3 quarters. He could have had more.
Right.
He also, like I said, he had a good job knowing when to run. I think you saw his poise coming from college. He was a senior at Cincinnati. He won a lot of big games with them. I think you saw that poise on the field. He did not look like a rookie out there. He didn't look like Deshaun Watson out there, who had a miserable preseason game going 1 for 7.
Thank God. Did you see the Jags
fans? Yes, I did. It was excellent.
It was. Did you see that, Hayden?
No, tell me about it.
What were they chanting again, Blake? I can't remember the exact.
I don't know if we should say it on our podcast.
All right, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, no, maybe you're right. They were when they were backed up down near their end zone.
Yeah, end zone.
Near the goal line, and they were going away from them. They were given a few European style soccer chants. We'll just say that.
Calling out what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think it got to him. Like, he had a horrible preseason game. I think he had 3 drives too. I think 3 drives.
I'd like to think it got to him, but I think it's also he hasn't played football in like a year and a half.
Probably.
There's that too.
There is that. Looking at,
I guess
there is that. But if you look going further along with the Falcons, if you look at our running backs, I was impressed. It's not going to be like the Tennessee Titans where you have a Derrick Henry. This is going to be a running back by committee, but you've seen this work in the NFL the last couple of seasons and work really well. I think the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan is a perfect example of it, where Kyle doesn't care what running backs there. He's going to make them work, and they're going to produce. I think their offensive line helps with that. But what the Falcons have is we have a running back that kind of fits a different mold. All 4 of our running backs that are going to have playing time this year and going to rush and get some good reps are all different in the way they do stuff. So Quadri Allison, young guy, he actually played a lot against the first and second team. He had some really good rushes. He held up in pass protection, but I think he let a couple go by, which that's the big question mark on him, why he might not make the team. Caleb Huntley, who's kind of fighting Quadri Allison for that last roster spot for the running backs, he played really well. The rookie played great in pass protection, but Tyler Algier got 3 rushes for 25 yards. So if you look at our rushing stats from the game, every running back besides Caleb Huntley averaged over 5 yards carry.
That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Damon Williams, he looks great out of the backfield. He's going to be our third down back, get a lot of catches with Cordell Patterson. I just think our running back room is much elevated from last year. Like, last year was Cordell Patterson and Mike Davis, and Mike Davis was horrible.
By the way, just to bring it back just a second, I went and looked it up and listened to it. They didn't say anything we wouldn't have said on this podcast. Cool. Yeah, no, they basically just chanted, "You sick fuck." That's right. Sick fuck. Yes.
Yeah. Like, but it was loud.
It was a huge section chanting it.
The whole end zone. Which it's weird. We talk more about this on our blurs for the week, but it's gonna be a weird thing for him this year, which it should be.
Oh no, I would hate for him to be uncomfortable in a certain situation.
I mean, right. I'd hate for him to be uncomfortable.
If he be made uncomfortable.
Yeah. Wide receivers, if you look, Drake London, we talked about it. He looked explosive. Like you said, Aaron, he knows how to catch and run, like, not just catch and go out of bounds. He knew how to take it up the field. That was a first down and 20 because of a penalty, and he got the first down on that. It was a huge play. Our second string guys, where you're like, are fighting for these roster positions, a lot of drops. And then Brian Edwards, who's someone I wanted to watch play, he didn't get to due to injury concerns. So he might play the next game. And then Bernhardt, who's a ex-lacrosse pro, he might make the team, maybe practice squad, but he's the one who had that game-winning touchdown that Ritter threw the dart in the end zone. He kind of went up for just a hope, and he's the one who called it. You saw his athleticism fighting that cornerback, getting open. I don't know. That's how you make the team. If you're trying to play to make the team, you got to hustle. If you go to the offensive line, Wilkinson did start the game. Mayfield came in the second unit. He had some good drives, but he looked dreadful. He got beat a lot. I just don't see how Mayfield's going to make. I just feel, here's my thought on Mayfield. I don't know if he'll make the team. He probably will as the second string, but God, he's not looked good. I thought Gossett, who's behind him on this depth chart, looked better than he did. For the centers, Hennessy and Dahlman are still going back and forth, taking alternating starting reps. Hennessy started the game. He fared well. They scored on that first drive. But Dahlman looked really good the second units. He's a little more physical than Hennessy, so I'll be curious to see Dahlman start the next game if they let him. Caleb McGarry, I'll be honest, I'm pretty impressed with Caleb McGarry so far, the right tackle. He looked like a people mover out there. I would say, like, our rushing looked good.
He looks bigger too.
He does. He did bulk up though. He said that. And Mike Bell kind of put him on the spot in 19 on the game when they were interviewing him and said, "Did you take as a shot when you think it's your 5th year picked up?" And I mean, Caleb McGarry gave the most PC answer he could have gave, but he kind of sounded a little ticked off. And I think you see that now. I think he's out there trying to prove something.
Absolutely.
D-line got smoked by the run, but they applied pressure throughout. I think Arnold Akabi looked really good.
He did.
Malone had a great tackle for loss in the game. So I think it might be a struggle to start the year, but I think as the year continues, I think that defensive line is going to get better and better, just because they're young guys are learning on the fly. And then if you look at the cornerbacks, D. Alford, who's the Canadian Football League standout that we picked up, he had an interception and he made great plays. He led the team in tackles.
I think he was the player of the game.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, I think he had 9 tackles and a pick.
Yeah, no, he looked great, and I think he will make the second unit. Like he's fighting not for to make the team, he's fighting to make the second unit and be on like the nickel and dime packages.
Yeah.
And I think he might make it. He looked really good. I think our secondary, like we talked about last week, is going to be, or last couple of weeks, they're going to be a strength of this team. So something I wanted to get into though is as we were looking at the Falcons this year and going forward, how do we feel about the quarterback, guys? Where do you think the Falcons like? Let's look at this year first. How comfortable are you with Mariota starting the season now? After I know it's the first preseason game, we only saw one drive. I think I sent you all the stats last year. Like his best year in the league, he threw for about 3,600 yards, 20-something touchdowns.
That second year in the league.
Second year, yeah.
He was healthy.
And
he led him to the playoffs.
He led him to the playoffs, and he also called a touchdown pass in that playoffs from himself. Yeah.
Crazy thing, dude. I don't think Mike Vrabel gets enough credit. Sorry, this might seem kind of random, but it's something I heard when they were talking about the Titans because people had brought up in the show I was listening to Mariota's second year because that was, I think, Vrabel's first year there.
Yes, I think so.
Did you guys know that since he's been there, they have not had less than 9 wins in a season?
Yeah, no, he's a good coach. They've had great defense the whole time he's been there. And they're doing it without superb quarterback play.
Right.
Or besides AJ, was it AJ Brown?
AJ Brown. Yeah.
Besides AJ Brown, they haven't really had what?
He plays for the Eagles.
I know they don't. He's not there anymore. But I'm saying,
but in the Vrabel era,
yeah, they haven't had many wide receiver weapons really. I mean, they've had Delaney Walker tight end, and obviously they had Marcus Murray into Derrick Henry. So they had good running backs, and that's I think it's something that Arthur Smith's trying to replicate.
Deion Lewis too.
Yeah, Deion. Yeah, exactly. No, so they've had, but it's not like the Chiefs or like any of the other teams that have weapons everywhere. The Rams, like they've done it with lesser talent in some ways.
Yeah.
But no, I think he deserves compliments. And I think something that Mariota might benefit from is that same year was Arthur Smith's year as offensive coordinator working with Mariota. So I don't know. How do y'all feel about Mariota this year going into it?
Tell us what you mean like by comfortable. What do you mean by that question?
That's a good point. How do I feel? Like,
so comfortable at QB would be like, oh, we got like an all pro that like we don't have to worry about.
I mean, so
not comfortable, but like, yeah, he's gonna, people are gonna go watch the game, I guess.
Shout out. Let me just start mine with shout out Levi, shout out Gray, shout out you, Hayden, all my finance bros and accountants out there. I'm a big fan of regression to the mean. I think that's something to rely on in life, and I think that Mariota's second year is the outlier.
Yeah,
and I think that that's and what I mean by the regression to the mean here in this instance is, yes, he had a good first look. He's looked good in training camp. Maybe he even has a first good quarter of the season, but I think as things go on, we're going to see the Marcus Mariota that lost his job to Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I mean, how often does redemption happen in the NFL? Like, I'm trying to think of the last time we saw a player who got
Tannehill's kind of a good example.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's true. And he went into Arthur Smith's offense. And so I guess the comparison could be if it would happen, maybe Mariota has a chance. But here's my question to you. Do you think he makes it the whole season?
You mean is he the starter the whole season?
Yeah.
It depends on where they're at that point, at that decision point.
Right.
Are they 0-8 and they want to just tank for Bryce Young? Or, not tank. You can't ask the boys in football to tank, but the upstairs folks do think about it. And the upstairs folks do have a say in who plays. And so I think that if they're 0-8 and they're 0-10, I don't know, maybe just see what Ritter's got and then
you
just
have to.
You have to because you put a third round pick into it.
Which a third round? Let me preface this. I don't think a third round is a huge draft usage.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's good. Give him a good sample size, and then if he doesn't pan out, then you use your number 2 overall pick on Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
I'm going to agree. Like unless the Falcons start off 4-4, like if that's the thing. If we're 4-4 at the 8-game mark, you can't bench Mariota at that point. Like you have a chance to go. If you have a chance to go to playoffs, you got to play for playoffs. I'm more worried that he gets hurt. Actually, like the preseason game is the first. Watching him get hit 3 times on that first drive, it's just his body cannot hold up all season doing that. I just don't think it can. So unless he learns how to slide or be smarter with his runs, I think he gets injured, which could be the reason why Ritter goes in. And then my question was, is there a chance Mariota finds redemption in Atlanta? If you had to give it like a % chance that he finds redemption.
Divine redemption.
Well, redemption would be become a starting quarterback again. Like it would be like maybe if Atlanta signs him to be their quarterback, or you know what I mean? Like to be a starting quarterback would be redemption. Like
Oh, to like,
But the thing
to
is,
turn this
like,
into like a multi-year deal.
yes,
Right.
whether it's with us or another
Ooh.
team.
that's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be with the Falcons in my eyes. And I only say that because not in a bad way for Mariota. Let's say he does redeem himself. The Falcons still aren't in the position of their rebuild and of their roster build currently that they want a 28-year quarterback to get a 4-year deal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like,
You're talking
I
about
think
like a
he could
Case
get-
Keenum type redemption.
Yes,
almost.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Case
exactly.
Keenum,
Like, he
yes.
could go to a team that's ready to compete.
Stopgap. Yeah.
If he balls out for Atlanta this year,
like
and
maybe go to
next
Seattle.
year.
Like maybe next year Seattle wants them.
Exactly,
Like, yes.
exactly. But I think Atlanta cuts ties regardless of how good he does because they want the next generation quarterback, which could be Ritter or it could be someone in a future draft.
Yeah. Could you?
But it's not Mariota.
Could you let him walk though if he takes you to the playoffs? I know this is far fetched.
Yes.
You still could.
100%.
I don't know. Then
That makes
I don't
it a
know.
lot harder. It makes it a lot harder. You don't have as high of a draft pick, and then if Ritter has zero experience going into year 2, I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know.
I mean,
True.
that's
true.
A good
You
point.
might have to. We'll get to something later that could change your mind there, but yeah, I see that. So here's my question about Ritter. Is there any chance he's the quarterback of the future? Do you see upside in him, or do you think he was just like, we need a backup quarterback? It's cheaper to draft one than it is to sign one.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, do you see upside in Ritter to be a potential starting quarterback in this league, or do you think it was like, well, he's cheaper than signing a guy, so let's just draft a guy?
No, I don't know. I mean, it could be that, but I don't think. I hope. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Not that I think. I hope they wouldn't do that. I hope
Right.
they wouldn't, because I still value in football a third round pick.
I mean, I think Ritter has upside for a third round pick. I mean, he had first.
No, I know.
round.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think they would draft him in the third round to be like, we need a backup quarterback for the next couple of years.
Right.
You do that in the 6th and 7th round.
Right. Okay.
Who's the Lions' backup quarterback? We just saw
David Blau or
David Blau.
Like, yeah, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You don't draft a backup quarterback in the 3rd round. So that's why I was saying, like, you have to give him a few, like, especially if there's a losing record last quarter of the season.
Just let him play.
You let him play out. It doesn't matter the result. You let him play it out and see what you got.
I agree. If you already know we're not going to make the playoffs, put Ritter in. Like, I agree. You have to see, because here's the thing. You did, like you said, you use draft capital to take him in the 3rd round, but also taking a guy in the 3rd round makes it where you still could take a guy the next year in the 1st round, because you didn't waste a 1st round pick on him. You did a 3rd round pick. So
yeah.
Well, we're not going to start him from week 1, so like we can't just necessarily play him when we think we're not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
But
ha. Hey, listen, hope springs eternal within this Falcons fandom. And by that I mean, like,
that's for you, Blake.
Within the
organization,
within the organization, like, the Falcons are going to go into the season with a mindset we can make the playoffs. Like, the team is. Like,
I think that's probably the team mindset. But like,
that's what I'm talking about.
The coaches down.
Yeah,
think that.
Yes.
The above the coaches. Hopefully,
Terry Fonda's probably like. Terry Fonda's like,
I actually don't want.
I would say below the coaches also probably, like, behind closed doors, they're probably like, oof. This is like any veteran that's in there, they're probably like,
we have to get lucky.
Cash that check.
Yeah, I agree. Some of them are playing though for that next big check though. Like, you gotta think Lorenzo Carter's there, Rashawn Evans. These are like past 1st round picks who didn't get their 5th round extensions. Like, they're there for that next big payday. All right, so here's my thing. 2023 free agency as of today. So free agency started today for 2023. Here's a couple quarterbacks that would be out there. Would you be interested in these names? You have Baker Mayfield, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson said they have until the season starts to get a deal done. And I think after that, he's just going to play out the year, I think is what he's saying. So we get to the end of the season.
Yeah.
We get to 2023 and we're like, all right, so now we have an option. We either draft a quarterback, we stick with Desmond Ritter, or we could sign one of these 3 guys.
I've got a scenario that's So first of all, to answer your question, Lamar Jackson
over CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, like taking it, like it's
yes.
You take
because
the sure thing.
I take the sure thing. He's the sure thing. Also, talking about to bridge this with the scenario we talked about a second ago of what if Mariota balls out? I think that's the best case scenario right there. You overachieve this year. Mariota redeems his career, goes somewhere else, and we signed Lamar Jackson to this team that is now
playoff ready,
further along than we thought in the rebuild.
I think we can all agree on this. The Falcons, I think Terry Fontenot and the front office believe that next year's star window. Like, you have to, in a rebuild, by year 3 should be the first year you make that push for the playoffs. And I think Lamar, if you could land Lamar Jackson, I know this is super hypothetical because there's a huge chance he re-signs with Baltimore. Baltimore's dumb if they don't re-sign him. But if you could sign Lamar Jackson, I mean, he's on ask for like $50 million a year, but I say you give him that money. Like, I agree with you 100%.
Yes, it's only money. Like,
it's not our money either.
It is so hard to find an MVP caliber quarterback. As much as people don't like to admit it with Lamar for some reason, he is a
shout out Sam
transcendent talent in this league. And when you have an opportunity to bring somebody like that in, now I think it honestly is going to be more of a selling deal to actually get him to sign with Atlanta. So if say Atlanta wins 7 or 8 games like Blake was predicting,
I said 7
with Mariota. 7. Okay, if Atlanta wins 7 games, I think that could show somebody like Lamar, like, hey, they put up 7 wins without like a starting caliber quarterback. If I come, then we could turn that into 12 wins and be in the playoffs next year.
I agree, and I think also something you could point to Lamar is like, look, dude, Baltimore obviously never cared about your receiving core. Like, they let your best receiver walk. They did get Rashawn Bateman, who I think is going to be fine receiver, but I don't know. I think the Falcons have just as good weapons as they do. Like, Kyle Pitts should eventually be better than Mark Andrews, I would hope.
Falcons probably have better weapons now.
Yeah,
even without Calvin Ridley. But that's how good Lamar is. Is like, he's going to take them to the playoffs probably.
Yeah. So I think the only other teams that you got to be worried about taking him next year would be like the Seahawks, because they have some pretty good weapons out there with Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And I mean, there'll be some teams but I think the Falcons could be in the mix for it. And I think Atlanta is a perfect city for Lamar. Like, I think he would love Atlanta.
Do we know where Lamar's from? I know he played for Louisville, but I don't know if he's from Kentucky.
I'm not sure. And I know our fans would be crazy about Lamar Jackson.
Well, half of them.
Yeah, half complain about everything that we're going to be honest. He's from Pompano Beach, Florida. So, yeah. And he's only 25 too. God, he's so young. He's so good.
He is. It's insane.
So, and here's our last options. So we get to the next season. Lamar Jackson's taken. Y'all probably agree with me. We don't want to bring in Baker or Jimmy Garoppolo, right? You'd rather.
Oh God.
Yeah, unless here's the problem though.
Elsewhere.
Now, if we play ourselves out of the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud thing, but we know Ritter's not the play, you might bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know. I hope not. But
if we do play that well, then I think that's a scenario where Mariota stays,
comes back.
and then the transition from Ritter to Mariota maybe happens the next season.
Yep, I could see that. So 2023 draft, we get there. Say we finish 2-15, and we're the first pick. Or if we're not the first pick, maybe we'll get one of these other guys. But Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis.
Yeah.
And
Will Levis is the Kentucky quarterback.
Yes, and Anthony Richardson's Florida's quarterback. C.J. Stroud's Ohio State, and Bryce Young's Alabama. So to get Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, you probably got to be that top 3,
right?
And then the other 2, you have to be first round picks. What do y'all think about these guys? Would you take?
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just say, like, are any of these guys you're willing to take a risk on, or would you rather just stick with Desmond Ridder and go for a lineman or something like that? Like
honestly, yeah. Because I mean, outside of Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, I think
Desmond maybe Ridder's probably just as good as the other.
Exactly, yeah. Because I don't think any of those guys, if you factor in team success at the quarterback position, I don't think any of them are going to do what he did.
Oh yeah, I mean, you would probably say that. Ridder overachieved.
Yeah, absolutely. Will Levis is maybe the only one because he's it's always going to look good on a resume to be the starting quarterback during the time of the most successful period in your school's history. And that's what Will Levis is at Kentucky. True. So maybe
I think Ridder was that too for Cincinnati.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and yes, exactly. So I think the answer is they probably are a wash unless they see something that we don't, which obviously they get paid to do this. So I think they could, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't honestly know.
Yeah. I mean, I think the only way we go Bryce Young, CJ Stroud next year is if Mariota gets hurt, Ridder plays full season. You're like, God, this is just not he won't make the switch. And that's when you go for one of these guys. I agree.
It happens a lot quicker these days than it used to. It used to be like,
oh yeah,
how many years did Aaron Rodgers sit behind Brett Favre?
like
Oh
four
my
or
God.
five.
Yeah,
It was a
4 or
while.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No,
I mean,
now it's 1 or 2.
Yeah. Now it's like you got to show it immediately. And so
Yes.
I guess the other option, if we do have a decent season, we're not at the top of the draft, I mean, maybe it's a year that we try to trade up and we risk it to get one of those top 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah. What I'm really hoping for, and we could just talk about our hope right before we end this segment, is that I hope that Ritter. I hope Lamar Jackson doesn't resign. That's my number one. That's who I want next year.
Oh, and he's only got through week 4 no, sorry, not through week 4. I think it was 4 more weeks to sign.
Yeah, no, I think he said by the start of his season.
Yeah, well, yeah, for him specifically by the start of the season, because he said once the season starts, he's not talking money. Like he's cutting off all contact.
Let's look at it from his perspective too. While there is a risk of him being injured, there's like player insurance stuff too. So like if he hits free agency at that caliber of quarterback, like it'll be very interesting.
He's going to sign for more than Deshaun Watson did. I mean, the Falcons are have to give him. They have to give him over $50 million a year, but I'm willing to do that. So that's my hope. That's crazy. And if that doesn't work, if he does sign with the Ravens, then I really hope Desmond Ritter is the future, so we can go for. So I want to go offensive lineman or defensive lineman first round next year. That's just where I'm at. That's how I feel.
$50 million ain't nothing, because we just saw the list get released of the top 10 richest people in the state of Georgia, and old Blank was sitting on a cool $7 billion.
Yeah, he's not worried.
I think he's fine with that.
He's not losing sleep, and it would bring so much money.
Yes. It would
exactly.
All these players are a return on investment too.
Exactly.
So like, he's going to generate more than $50 million.
The jersey sales alone.
Yeah. Oh my god.
From that,
it would be crazy. I mean, because like everyone would be like, "This is Michael Vick 2.0." Like that's like that would be the comparison right off the bat. So no, I mean that's how we'll end this Falcons segment. We don't have time to go into the Bleacher Report, and that's probably thank God for everybody. But yeah, anyone have any closing thoughts on the Falcons there?
No, I mean honestly,
I'm takeaways from the game.
Well, yeah, more so takeaways from the game, because I'm not, as negative as I am with the Falcons nowadays. That I think it's also more so just like watching a football game than the Falcons themselves. But man, that game-winning drive, and specifically the game-winning touchdown with like 1:47 left that Ritter threw to Bernhardt, that was cool.
It was cool,
and it just kind of jazzed me up a little bit. So, those would be my takeaways. Not so much hope springing eternal, but maybe hope peeking out.
Hey, but thank God that's the way that ended and not another way, because I feel like that helped bring some optimism, and maybe not for the Falcons for the season, but for Ritter going forward.
Oh, and I also like the fact that it was 4th and 9 from like the 30. And and instead of trying to, they're like, it's a preseason game.
No play for ties.
We're down by 3. We don't get overtime, so I'm not going to kick the field goal. You guys just go do it. And Ritter was like, okay, we're going to do it.
Cool. Yeah.
And he threw it to the end zone on 4th and 9 from the 30. So, yeah, you got to respect it.
What are you, Hayden?
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, like there will be glimpses. There will be, some points of hope. Like maybe the offense will have some exciting plays. Maybe there will be some fantasy relevance in Atlanta, especially with mop-up time. But yeah, I mean, probably better than what I expected. But it's preseason.
Hey, that's more optimistic than last week. So
yes,
we're moving somewhere. All right. Well, that's all I got.
Any as we're closing out here, you guys got any thoughts generally with our Atlanta sports and moving on into this week?
No, just Braves, keep it on rolling, baby. I mean, let's get it. Let's get the Mets tomorrow. Make me fully regret not going to that game on Thursday, because we're getting a 4-game sweep in, and I said
good.
Oh my God, New York would start melting.
Yeah,
we are going to get that 4-game. We got to win 8 more games.
Stop. There's a difference in predicting it and hoping it. All right, but no, that's my main focus this week for sure. Oh, and Atlanta United actually play on Wednesday, so they're back in action. Quick turnaround. So both of those.
Yeah, labels out for Atlanta this week.
Right.
My takeaway was just I think we're going to joint practices this week for Falcons. So
we do. Who is it?
The Jets, which I actually like that though. I think Jets had a great draft this last year, and I think Robert Salah, like if they're going to have a winning season, maybe this is the year for them.
Oh, especially since they got their worst quarterback. They got their worst quarterback out of the way.
Yeah, so now Mike White can take over.
Now the better one can take over. White Mike, as I like to call him.
And they might get Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy G might be a potential trade target there. So, but no, I just want to say joint practices are going to be huge for our offensive and defensive line growth. And I didn't even hear what y'all were saying because this is my moment. So yeah,
I didn't hear anything Blake said. We were just having a background conversation. Aaron and I. Aaron said what?
White Mike,
and I said Mike the White.
Yeah,
but I meant it more of like Gandalf the Gray,
yes,
kind of way. So
can't you see we talking white? Tell me you guys remember that scene.
I don't.
Okay, I think it's Zach and Miri make a porno, maybe.
Oh,
great movie. Craig Robinson at the coffee shop. Anyway,
yeah. So, anyways, joint practices. That's all I gotta say.
And I don't have anything. Aaron stole mine, so yeah.
All right,
that's it. Special shout out to our friend Oh No for putting our music together. Their bops. Maybe we'll get some new drops and whatnot. Maybe we'll reach out to him here soon.
Yeah, he's been messaging me about some stuff he's working on.
Sweet.
Blake, this is my moment.
Jesus Christ, Blake.
Hey, Aaron, you wanna?
This is why we're gonna automate this part. 2 more shout outs to Jess and Kinsey for all their help in social media and logos and whatnot. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a 5-star review. Tell your friends. Watch on YouTube's.
Share it with your mom.
Twitter. I don't know, all that stuff. Yeah, moms love this show apparently. Shout out to my mother-in-law, Debbie. Thanks for listening every week. She's crushing it. So
Debbie, we love to see it.
That's it.
See you guys.
Peace. Goodbye.